Hey guys, this is Kirk, and today I'm going to teach you how to make an 808 sub bass from scratch using Alchemy in Logic Pro X. All right, so let's check out the sound and then build it together. Cool. All right, dig it. So it's a straightforward 808. It's pretty clean, but it's punchy and it's got plenty of lows. So it's a great way to get into synthesis if you're new to that also. So let's dive in. First thing you want to do is make a new track. Turn off this compressor. And you're going to initialize the preset. So you're going to File, Initialize Preset. What this does is bring up whatever your default patch is. For me, it's a saw wave. Beautiful. What I like to do is just pull down this filter, low pass, just so it's a little more pleasant to listen to while I'm working. The next thing I want to do is add my first oscillator. This is going to be the meat and potatoes of our sound. So I'm going to click here, opens up this drop down. I go to load VA, which is virtual analog, and I'm going to pick a basic sine. There we go. That's the beginning of our sound. What I'm going to do is pitch that down 2 octaves. And it's like, yeah, we're pretty close. That's going to be all of our sub lows. The next thing I do is I'm going to add these other oscillators. Okay, so the second oscillator I'm going to add is not a saw. Actually, I'm going to hit load VA and it's going to be a triangle. A triangle is kind of like a slightly distorted sine wave. And then I'm going to pitch that down 2 octaves. So it gives you a little bit of grit on top. But I don't want the low end of this triangle to mess with the low end of the sine. So I'm actually going to go into this oscillator B. You can kind of go under the hood, and I'm going to add a filter. Turn it on. Do a high pass filter with a sharp slope. I just want that grit. I don't want all that sub lows because my other sine's going to do that. And then while I'm here, let me show you this. In B, I always like to take these phase to not random to 0%, and I turn down my detuning when I'm doing these bass things that I'm designing. So A, B, C, D, no detuning, no random phase. And this means everything's going to be clean when I start this sound on the bass side of things. So if I'm doing chords and leads, I might have more unisons and detunes, but when I'm doing this 808 sub, I want everything clean. So we're good. So I got my sine and I got my triangle. I'm just blending that in. Great. The next thing I'm going to do is turn on C, and I'm going to load another sine. And this one, I'm going to pitch down 1 octave. Okay. I'm also going to go in C, and I'm going to clean up the low end there. So I'm going to hit on, high pass, cut off. And then I'm going to blend this in with my volume. You can hear just adding a little bit of grit, a little harmonic content on top. And then on oscillator 4, or D, I'm going to hit load VA, basic, and I'm going to add yet another sine. And this one I'm not going to pitch down at all. So I'm going to have 2 octaves down, 1 octave down, and then no octaves down. Again, it's just adding that content on top of this content. Helps it cut through the mix a little bit. And again, you can adjust it to taste, and then you can add that filter where you want it. but I like it right about there. Okay, so we got our oscillators doing what they need to do. The next thing is we need to get our envelope going right here. And it's actually pretty straightforward. You're almost there by default. You have the decay straight up the middle. I like to bring my sustain about 3/4 of the way, and then a fairly fast release so that I don't get like some snap sounds during my basses. So make that right around there. And then you want your voice tabs to be 1. So take that 8 and make it 1, because that's going to make this monophonic, which is what you want with the sub bass. You don't want notes overlapping in the sub region, because that's going to cause some unwanted phase cancellation, make your bass not as bassy. Okay, we'll leave this at always for now. We're going to add a little bit of glide, right? And we'll talk more about that in a minute. But we got our sound, we got our oscillators, we got our filters. And now we're going to add some modulation to add knock, okay? And this is kind of the cool trick that you can apply to other sounds, is this pitch modulation. So we're going to right click here. We're going to add a new AHDSR, which is an envelope. And then we're going to adjust the depth. And see, as I adjust the depth, it changes the amount of the pitch move here. It's like, okay, that's not really cool. So what are we doing? Well, this is what we're doing. We're going to turn down the release, turn down the sustain, and now we got this kind of, laser beam drum thing going on. But as we shrink this decay, that pitch moves happen so fast that you don't hear it as a laser beam, you just hear it as knock. Right? So if I turn it off, it's flat. If I turn it on, it's got that knock. Okay? So you can adjust this knock, make it a little wider, a little tighter, and that's where you design your 808 based kick sound the way you want. And then you can make this a little deeper and it starts to get plucky. I like it right around there. Okay. So, we got our basic sound. We got our knock, we got our tone, and now we go back to our glide, and I'll show you this. So you have 3 types of things you can do here: always, retrigger, and legato. Always means that it's always going to do the glide, no matter what, even if the notes are separated. Right? If I do legato, they're not going to glide if the notes are not separated. It's going straight to the note. It's not gliding up. But if I connect the notes, i.e. legato, basically it's what that means. Okay, if I connect the notes, they will do the glide. If I disconnect the notes in legato, they will not glide. So you just decide what it is you're trying to do when you're writing your bass lines. The other thing is retrigger. This means if I connect the notes, it's going to re-trigger the knock. So it's going to re-trigger that knock even if the notes are in legato. When you're in legato mode and I connect the notes, it's smooth. So sometimes you might want that smooth, and sometimes you might want it to knock with the glide. And so that's just preference. You can do rate, you can do time. Play along with that. Then the last thing you could do is smooth it out a little bit with a compressor. And I would just do a fairly low ratio with a medium to slow attack, a quick release. yeah, trying to get no more than 5 dB makeup gain. That's kind of it. From there, you know, you can do parallel compression and start doing mangly type things. But if you want that clean, open 808 sound, this is a great place to start. So if you want this actual patch, you can go to the blog post on this website, link below in the description, and you can actually go download the patch and just load it in Logic. All right, so I hope that helps. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. If you want more tutorials, just subscribe and you'll get one every week. All right, go make music.